Hi BookTube, I'm Peg, the Book Prize Addict. Welcome to my channel. And I'm here today at Bookwise to talk about my end of the year project to either read or reread the winners only of the 30 plus book prizes that I followed during the year. And I'm having a great time doing that. It's a great project, and I'll be getting that in a minute. But first, I need to talk to my craft buddies. I really enjoy that I'm getting more subscribers that are into the crafts, the knitting and crochet and stuff, and even some guys. Yay! Okay, so let me just tell you a little bit what I'm doing these days. As you in the U.S. know, and probably everybody knows, in the U.S. tomorrow is the day we celebrate the Thanksgiving, not Halloween, and I'm a little loath to say happy Thanksgiving to people. There's a lot of people that aren't happy and won't be happy for a while, but I do say there's a definite lightening of mood here. There's I think we have hope of possibility of things someday getting better. I mean, they really already have, politically and scientifically. And if we can just get through this last spike of COVID that we're going to have from everybody getting together for Thanksgiving, I think we'll be on a good path. And I can just see that there's a dim ray of light of hope on the horizon among my friends and people. So anyway, onto that. Since I enjoy working with my hands so much these days, it's almost easier to do that than read. I've been crocheting turkeys. Now, this is not really a pin or a brooch. It's actually a coaster for people to put on their table to put things on Thanksgiving. But I thought this was a good way to display it. And I'm crocheting away on at least 20 of these to get to put in the door, not give personally, put in the door of about that many 20 or so friends who usually during this time I would be getting together with, either for parties or even to eat together our turkey. And I just want to do something alone. So I'm making these, and I'm going to be going around putting them in their doors tomorrow. Not contact, and they might, well, anyway. But here's the setup I have with the turkey already in the plastic bag with a little note that tells what it is. I found when you make something for somebody, you really ought to be real clear on what it is and what it's used for. So this explains, this is called a gobbler coaster, and with the added note that I hope we're eating our turkey together next year. Okay, so I'm putting the pattern down below. It's a YouTube one where she not only gives you the written pattern, but shows you how to do it in case any crocheters out there want to whip up a few before tomorrow. They're very easy to make if you crochet at all, and really you can even learn to crochet on YouTube. Probably not by tomorrow, but you can. So anyway, I'm leaving that link, and I'll show you a few I've done. And the good thing about it, as long as you have your crochet hook, you can use almost any colors. Who knows what colors turkeys really are? This one's kind of multicolored. Here's a real weird breed with green feathers. Here's blue feathers. You can just do anything. Anyway, so I have quite a few to go yet, so I'll be rushing through this to get back to crocheting. Incidentally, crochet goes a lot faster if you're making something quickly than knitting does. You're able to do more free-form type things like this instead of just sweaters and square things, which it's fun in its own way. And I'd recommend, if you don't know how to do either, I'd learn to do this first. Okay, so we've finished that. Let me quickly go over the books. I am having such a good time reviewing the prizes I followed during the year and rereading, as I said, some of the prize winners and reading for the first time the prize winners, and then looking ahead to what some of them already have their lists out for next year. So I've put it all down below, so I'm going to just hurry through them and tell you the 5 I have read this week and the prizes they won. First, we have the winner of the WARWICK Prize for Women in Translation. That's fairly new, and it's got the two things that people are really into these days: women's writing and translated writing. And it had some great ones on it. The winner, actually last year, was The Years. It's a French translation and actually almost nonfiction. Ernaux talks about her days. She grew up during World War II, actually. Her days growing up and being a teenager, and how they grew up in those days. And it was very fun for me. I'm not quite that old, but it was fun to see their versions of the things I was doing as a teenager in the U.S. And I really enjoyed this. She has several more out. And the list for the for the new prize, the New Year's prize, is out. The short list just came out. There's some really good ones on there. So I've put the link to that also in case you want to take a look at that. Okay, next we have the Pulitzer Prize winner, one of the most well-known and well-respected prizes for different things. I follow the fiction here in the U.S., and the winner of that this year was The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. I'm not going to do a real review. Most people have read it or can find out about it, but it affected me a lot because it was took place in Tallahassee, Florida, where I lived as a child, very near there on the Air Force Base. And some of the description was eerily reminiscent to me. But anyway, it had to do with a boarding school that was split between the white boys part and the black boys part. And our characters were black, and their story there. And I learned a lot. And it's scary to think these things were going on when I lived nearby as a little girl on an Air Force Base. But anyway, so he's also, I think, already published a new one. The next we have the Lost Children Archive, which was listed for many prizes, and I have the two that it won here. This author previously is written in Spanish, and I've read the translations of her other books, but this one she wrote in English. And it's a really well done story of a woman, told from a woman's viewpoint, and she and her husband are traveling across country for a job sort of situation. And they had their two children with them. And it's a great road novel. I love, they talk about where they stop and the crummy old places they stay. There's one scene I really, really loved when she got up in the night and couldn't sleep. And she was reading Susan Sontag's diaries and her thoughts about that, comparing it to her old life. That's the phone, but hopefully the person I live with is going to be answering it. Yeah, okay. Anyway, really great. And it had a different layer. You were aware that even though she and her husband were getting along okay and not actively fighting, that they were headed for a breakup. You could tell that, and it was interesting to see the changes that were going on in the relationship, and in both characters, and how their jobs were kind of tearing them apart. Okay, besides the Andrew Carnegie Medal, this one, which I also, the short list for next year's already out, which I've given, it won the RATHBONES FOLIO Prize, which is a British prize, fairly well known for literary works. Okay, next we have I skipped any? No, okay. Next we have a great Australian novel, The Yield. I first heard about it from Jacqueline, our own booktuber, Australian booktuber, about the story and how it's 3 parts, and it is really indicative of small town Australia of different times. There's 3 parts. One is modern, contemporary, where a woman hears that her grandfather dies and flies back. She had run off to England years ago and hadn't kept contact, and comes back to Australia and sees the changes and realizes really what was happening in a lot of instances in their small town with the different people. I'm not really knowledgeable about the different terminology for the different tribes and people, but there were a real difference among those. And I think a lot of the books talk about Aboriginals in these days, and I'm trying to learn as much as I can as I go. But there was a three-threaded plot with her idea, her grandfather that had died, a voice from him, and a voice from a missionary that had come there to supposedly help the people in the backlands during the 1800s, and it all pulled together really well. And it won, I think, two of the biggest prizes in Australia, the Miles Franklin Prize and the Christina Stead Prize, which is for women. Okay, let's see. Last I have the, I like my mysteries too. I have one of the main crime novel prizes put out by the Mystery Writers Organization of America, and it's called the Edgar Award, of course, named after Edgar Allan Poe. And interesting that it's, you might say, the American prize, but the winner was an English author, and it took place in England. But I like English. I've always liked English atmosphere better. Anyway, The Stranger Diaries. I won't say too much about this because I don't want to give anything away, but I will tell you this. I read it when it first came out, and I remember I liked it, but I kind of couldn't remember. So I started reading, and I thought, am I going to remember? I don't remember what happened. At the first of it, there's a woman who's a teacher in a boarding school. I love boarding schools stories too. And one of her friend teachers is murdered, another woman at the first. And I thought, I kind of remember this, but I don't remember who did it. So it was funny. I kept reading, and when the person who did it walked into the scene among the probably 20 other characters that come on the scene, it immediately reminded me of who did it. So it'd be interesting if you read it to see if you can figure out who did it. It was one of the most complete surprises that I've read about. So anyway, that's it. I have some more to read for next week. Get back with some more prizes. Congratulations to the prize winners that were announced this week. The Booker, the National Book Award. I think we've got some more coming up. So anyway, I got to get to crocheting on my turkeys. Have a good day, y'all. Bye.